Thought I might as well say a few things about this as well, seeing though that Robert F. Kennedy made a video about it the other day. I thought I wanted to make... I've said this before like about 10 times, but not more recently. So in regards to legalising cannabis, I mean, I'm not a fan of the idea. This is going to piss a lot of people off, particularly like, a lot of sports people or, alternative sports people who really like cannabis, or just music people, or just, whoever. There are some people who really, 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 really like it, and they're really into the lifestyle and culture of it. So those people aren't going to be really impressed with what I've got to say. They say that different drugs suit different people depending on their personalities or culture, but this is my opinion on cannabis, right? And I just don't hear enough people talking about this. Maybe I don't watch the right videos, or maybe they say it but in their own kind of like way, but they don't say it in this way. A lot of scientists are interested in it, but I still don't hear them. Terence McKenna, never really said it like in this kind of manner. If you want to talk about cannabis, or you want anyone to learn anything about cannabis, you should play them all the Terence McKenna talks, because he was a massive advocate of cannabis smoking, even though he was mainly meant to be the psychedelics guy and for, psilocybin, but he was one of the biggest cannabis smokers out of everyone. But then again, he ended up with a brain tumour, so he's not the best advocate of it, although we don't know where he got it from. I think it was from early mobile phone signals. But so with the cannabis, this is what I found, and I really think that, at the time I was making a lot of observations about things and making notes and finding out about it, discovery process, because I wanted to know. And I think that this evaluation is an honest one. And, even with alcohol, there's a lot of people depressed with alcohol. So you can drink alcohol for a certain amount of time, and then, you get this depression. With alcohol, this depression, particularly around the chest area, kind of just like a feeling down in the dumps. Obviously, people who are alcoholic, though, they tend not to eat much, and they get to this stage where they've drunk themselves sober, and you just get into this kind of like consciousness where, it's almost like a little bit of a, sort of car body world sort of feeling, which you can get from a lot of drugs, mainly because it, in a way, you get desensitized, and in a way, you just feel a little bit alienated from being rooted and embedded in the usual standard emotions of the human condition. You get into a slightly different condition. Well, it's an altered chemical balance condition of varying degrees and effects. But with cannabis, so there's a lot of songs about this, and I know that cannabis people talk about it in their own language and their own creative ways. But language is one of the main issues. I mean, there's two main issues I wanted to raise. The first is language. So the first thing about cannabis is the modulating of how you perceive words and phrases and letters and sentences, and it alters your perception of how you understand words and language. So like the diversity of language, and also the subject pointers of language, modulating those as well. Mainly because what I found is that, so in a standard human condition, in a standard human condition of a human that is, not using alcohol or tobacco or drugs or anything like a you pull a random person out of, a group, just pull a statistical person out, you've got these settings, and also men and women have got different settings because of hormones and so forth. Now, the thing what I find with cannabis, which I think is worth drawing attention to, if you're talking in the senses of government and, CIA and running the country and, all those type of subjects when it comes to whether to or not to legalize drugs and who should and shouldn't be using them and stuff like that, is that I found that cannabis, because, different drugs, when you say, it changes your emotions, what you can't just say changes your emotions, because there are so many different aspects even to the emotions. Like, for example, ecstasy, emotions that kind of like make you excited or elated or euphoric or whatever. But with the cannabis there, I find that when, for example, if people are talking, or if you hear someone next to you talking, or if you talk to someone, the standard human condition has parameters of which you make assessments. So when you say hello to someone and they say hello back, as a human being, you are constantly reading data, information, the expression on their face and the exact pitch and tone in their voice and all those type of things. These are the things that Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk are, dreaming over on a night time, but they're trying to get their machines to be able to do all these things. They're trying to make a machine into a human. They're trying to get AI and all these other things. They want to, basically try and replicate a human in a machine, but get it to do what they want it to do. They want it to be able to sense everything, and, this is what they've been trying to do now, listening into his conversations and using it for ads and so forth. But, the human being, since you're a baby and you form in the womb and then you come out and then you are, your focus, the world comes into focus and you're identifying objects, entities, people, humans from this kind of vast, lavish kind of visual field and sonic field, and also the world that you can touch and feel. I think that the cannabis, it definitely does some modulation in certain, it's more like the frontal lobe of the brain, but it's to do with the language. It's the emotional plug-in to the language, and I find that when you modulate the dials and knobs of the emotional connection to your language center in the brain, it has some strange effects, because when someone says hello or whatever, there's additional information in the tone and in the emotion rather than just the word, like hello, goodbye, over there, over here. And if you take away the data, the information of the emotional content of the word, you are seriously lacking a important part of the communication of the being and how that being's feeling, how that being is feeling when it responds to you. And that's important, because then you get these weird effects, like when you're saying a sentence or something, the emotion, the emotional content of the response, it has a stake in the meaning of the sentence. And this is the thing with comedy and jokes, catch-22s and double liners and double jeopardies and all these other, innuendos and things like that. And sometimes if you lose some of the information or it gets misconstrued, the response can be taken the wrong way or mean the wrong thing. And that is what leads to a lot of paranoia, because when people are saying things and talking about things, it changes the perceived meaning of it or confuses you with the perceived meaning. But that can lead to creativity and to a diversification of language, but at the costs of sometimes a uncertainty or paranoia because of those modulations, which it has benefits and setbacks. But that is one of the things that it does. But the thing is that can lead to these social issues and family problems and relationship problems, and then you get certain culture developing among groups of young people and individuals who have then, they're in a different human condition, slightly, ever so slightly different human condition. It's almost these are the things when you get into things like racism and things like that, because if you've got a group of people with a certain skin colour, yes, you can still be nice to them and kind to them and still love them or like them, but they're always going to have that. So you always, there's an additional piece of information. Oh, this person is Chinese, or this group of people are Chinese, and it's not like you can rub it away with a rubber and forget about it. It might not bother you. You might not prejudice them. You might not, think anything less of them. But there's always that there, that will always be in the awareness and consciousness. So there are all these subtle things, these subtle differences, and this is where we get a lot of, ethnical differences. This is when you get into this in a great detail, you find the difference between, the trends of, the different types of peoples from around the world. It's so slight differences that we might say it's negligible, and it's all men are created equal or all women are created equal, but there are differences. It's not absolute, but there are general trends. Like supposedly you can notice, if someone, it's like, like you can notice if someone's got an African voice or a certain other tone. Sometimes you can just get that through listening to an audio recording or something like that. It's on that kind of level, I suppose. Another thing I found with cannabis that I'm not too keen on is that it can even sort of lower your emotions, so you're just not that bothered about things. They like this. This is where they call it self-medicating. Now, this can be beneficial to a lot of women, particularly. Women are very emotional creatures, emotional roller coaster. Women respond a lot. Sometimes men say that women respond irrationally. Women act with their feelings rather than logic. Sometimes men argue with women because they say something that isn't true or isn't logical, but they're just saying it because that's how they felt. So therefore, I think that this was known all through the prehistoric cultures, and why I think women had a certain different role, particularly maybe in voting and things like that. Because when it comes to judgments, particularly in law and in society, women are more emotional, so they can sometimes be more vindictive or jealous or vengeant or whatever, because they're carried a lot more by their emotions. But the beneficial side of that is that, if a child falls over and hurts itself, you've got this affinity for being able to be more touchy-feely, loving, caring, nurturing and so forth, but that it can also go the other way. The thing with cannabis is that it makes, this is why the hippies like it, why the whole hippie culture like it, because it's this, what you call this chilled out, calm. Smoking does dramatically lower the energy of the body. People who are quite juvenile, excitable, like little kids, when kids eat too many sweets and they're hopping up and down and, they're fueled on sugar and they're hyperactive. The thing what I found about normal smoking cigarettes was that it really lowered the energy and it almost kind of like got rid of this excitable, hyperactive trend, which is kind of good though, because it makes you feel young and makes you want to do things like mess around with kids and roll around on the floor and laugh with your friends and stuff like that. But this is what they were doing in North America when we went over, and they had all the wigwams and the smoking pipes and everything. But they had all these peace pipes and these chieftains, and that's what the elders did. And we picked that up off them and adopted it into the whole Parliament and country smoking. And I think that, you don't get all these Trudeaus, these brave chieftains with their battle axes, they're the vengeful warriors. It's more of a chilled peace pipe culture. I think that is, but cannabis is, the smoking one is more of a complete physical kind of like, it takes the edge off. But cannabis goes even further than that. I think it's because then you go into psychological effects, and it's very, this is why, hippies, what's that guy shouting at, chill, man, chill, everything's calm, chill out, don't think about it too much or whatever. Or sometimes, you do think about it too much, but don't actually act and gyrate. But the thing with the whole Terence McKenna and hippie thing, no matter what psychological effects and philosophical effects and benefits that it may have, I think that a lot of the people who smoke cannabis get a rebound, and this is really mainly my second point over to the language effects, and that is that I know that some people get used to it over time, and it becomes like, they become more familiar with it and so forth. But with the with the energetic effect, I think a lot of people smoke cannabis and they like to be chilled, but then when they're not smoking it, it has the reverse effect and it makes them get more angry and, irate and so forth when they haven't got it. So therefore, when they say, oh, it's good medication, I think it's only good medication in the sense of like heroin, it takes the pain away, but then when you haven't got it, then you're in pain. But instead of like physical pain, it's more like emotional rollercoaster and anger and stuff when you're not chilled out or supercharged on the cannabis. I'm not saying this goes for everyone because it affects everyone differently, but a lot of people actually end up smoking it for a long time and then ended up deciding, eventually do quit, and that it wasn't any good or so forth. And I think that as for all these modulation effects on the other aspects of consciousness, I think, yes, after a while, I think everyone does assimilate those and come to their own conclusions about it. But a lot of people just like being, there's this effect where it can just clear your mind and you cannot think about anything, right? But then when you haven't got it, then your mind can't stop. Now, whether they regard that as being charged, whether or not while it's working, it's, like blocking you out, but then once it wears off, you've kind of built up, it's almost like weightlifting, you can't do anything while you're on it, but then when you're off it, then you're hyperactive, I don't know if that's contributed towards some of these computer whizzes, mathematicians, calculators and so forth, being able to hold shapes in their mind, triangles and 3D images and stuff like that. But, there's that part of it. But for me, I really don't like the flavour of kind of social effects that it has. It tends to get people hang around in these groups who get onto this same wavelength when they're on it, and they end up liking to do these certain things like the munchies thing, and then they go and sit in a chilled place thing, and they get their own kind of like their own trend, flavour and style of likes, responses, comments, things like that suit that state that it puts you in, which I don't think that it is productive to the family. But then again, you've got this whole alcohol culture when you've got abusive families, people getting drunk and fighting and arguing and all that nightclub jock stuff in America. Well, it's jocks in America. In England, they call it townies and so forth with alcohol. So, all these... But then again, a lot of people like to have alcohol because it loosens them up and they can talk freely, say things they wouldn't normally say, be more social. But then, these things always have pros and cons. But, I don't like cannabis. I mean, Sean Ryder was saying that, it made him paranoid after, when he'd been smoking it for quite a while, it started making him paranoid. And you could say this, at the moment, though, our whole culture's paranoid, but it's paranoid because we've been given these devices and we're constantly being told that there are people going to steal things, spy on us, break in, but it's the actual government who are wanting to spy on us. It's actually these big organisations that are spying on us. And then, these companies that, we're emailing and sending in, they're punching up things and they know everything about us, I mean, then that's the one I've just said now, punching up. I've used the word punching up, that you can start thinking about actual punching, but I'm talking about typing stuff in, punching stuff up. That's just I thought I'd just mention that as a language reference to what I was talking about earlier, for example. But, in contrast, psychedelics aren't really the type of drug that the majority of people want to take very often. It's more of kind of like an experience that you have less often. Some people just, some people just find drugs funny and laugh at them, and other people find them extremely intellectually stimulating. I think the Sleaford Mod said that at first, I haven't actually watched the video, but I've seen it. I've seen the video. I haven't got around to watching it yet, but he was saying something about he thought that drugs were making him more creative in music, but they weren't. I think the thing with drugs is because they tweak and change things, what you do is you get might not necessarily make you better or worse at music or give you a competitive edge, but what it does is it gives you a new way of looking at things. So that isn't necessarily... that's just almost like, looking at something, a different side to something, or like, the other side of an object, if you hadn't seen the other side of it, it's not necessarily saying that you wouldn't have been as creative by just, writing about things about the other side of the object. This is the thing with simple pop songs. Some people think that pop songs aren't that creative. I am not too keen on the cannabis. It before they legalised it, I would like, the CIA or the FBI or the American government to actually give us the proper, true fact sheet on it, not the kind of like baby version of the fact sheet, the, bric-a-brac ABC fact sheet, like the actual proper fact sheet, the truth, about it, like, where is the exact country of origin, where is the region of origin, which are the people who we think that were eating this and using it, and can we identify those people in a identity parade, and are those the slight desirable changes that we would like to adopt onto everyone, if everyone starts smoking it for the next whatever 1,000 years, is that what resulted in the Indian consciousness, with their rupees, with their 10 trillion rupee thinking, are there any special abilities they've got, you know, these people from having it for a long, long, long time, and, you know, is that advantageous or a hindrance? You know, these are the questions we've got to look at through, you know, opium and heroin usage. Russell Brand, you know, doesn't advocate heroin, and now I don't think Robert F. Kennedy does either. You know, this is the thing, you know. But Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg want to make robots and machines and try and make them like humans before they even understand humans and even understand what humans are and how they formed and how they got slightly different and what these very slight differences are. Yet they're even trying to make machines assessors. What actually Zuckerberg and Musk want to do is they want to make the machines, AI, assess all these people, and then, you know, with, you know, the injections and genetics and so forth, and they want to actually discover all this by using these devices, and then make the benefits and profit out of it without even asking us, just forcing us into getting it on our phones. And we're all going to be their little guinea pigs. Whereas, you know, what Musk and Zuckerberg cannot actually fathom is that there are actually people who, yes, we already can work it out ourselves without the machines. Oh, you know, that's it. But, you know, this is it. But when, you know, Zuckerberg wants to get his wallet out, you know, there's another $100,000, you know, get the experts in with our novel new technologies, hickety-dickety-doo-dah, with my new expert, Mr. Bill Gates, hickety-dickety-doo-dah, howdy-diddly-doodly, friendly neighbor, hey there. You know, I'm just going to get my devices everywhere and push this button, and it's going to tell me every single thing about all these people. And with the mouth swab as well, required to lick your screen. Please stick your tongue out, sir, and lick your phone screen so I can get a DNA swab, and we'll give you all the answers to everything after this short advertisement. And please give us a fee of $50. You know, this is it. You know, I think we need Zuckerberg and Musk. You know, we need Zuckerberg and Musk, you know, in the lab. Let's get Zuckerberg and Musk in the lab and let's get deep into those brain cells, you know. Let's get deeper. Get them on Jordan Peterson's psychiatric bench, laid down deep. Come on, Jordan, deep into the mind of Musk. Deep. Let's get an assessment. You know, let's get the communication expert in Leon, the communication expert professor, you know, deep into the realms. What makes Mr. Zuckerberg tick? What makes that hair? Where does he get that hairstyle from? Why doesn't he have it long like a hippie? It looks like a Jewish hat. Well, that's funny because he's absolutely Jewish. Oh, that's quite cool. I see what he's doing there. He's kind of like having his hairstyle, so it kind of looks like a Jewish hat. I like what you're doing there with that, Mark. That says a lot about you. It's you proud of your Jewish heritage, even though you're a proud American. You know, even though you're trying to take our rights away from us, you know, that's not very proud to be an American when you're taking people's rights away and liberty, you know, and forcing people to have your tech on their phones without their consent. Consent, you consent, but only because you've got no choice, you know. There's a gun on the table there, sir. You pick it up now, or I'll press this button and electrify you. You know, you will pick up the gun and put it in your pocket. You know, this is it. No, I'm not the greatest fan of cannabis. Some people really like it, but, you know, why? Because, you know, it stops them thinking about things, but then when they're not smoking it, then they're super turbocharged and then can't stop thinking about things. So then, you know, when they want to switch off, then they've got to smoke more of it, and then, you know, when they haven't got it, then they can't stop thinking. You know, is it worth it at the end of the day? You know, like the pain of heroin or whatever? You know, I mean, you wouldn't really want to be off your head on magic mushrooms, you know, or acid, you know, all the time either. But, you know, or alcohol. But some people, you know, become alcoholics and drink themselves sober. You know, what is the, you know, human condition? you know, a lot of people say that, you know, oh, I used to like it, you know, even if you're from a poor family, you know, still the memories of Halloween and carrying the pumpkins out and the Christmas tree, even if it's a modest one, you know, the presents under the tree, the excitement of being a child and the excitement of, you know, so Santa's coming, even if it's like make-believe or the Tooth Fairy, all these things playing in the snow, you know, I would suggest that the majority of children, rich or poor, you know, black or white, you know, have had these emotional experiences, whether they've been, you know, beaten to death by the parents or whether, you know, for better or worse, there is a sentiment of childhood that is lost when you grow up. Maybe it's the naivety, maybe it's the fact that the world is unknown, and as your consciousness grows out into the world, you become more and more aware of the world, you know, and it's less mysterious and less imaginary. I don't know, but there's something to do with, we are unique humans, we have an imagination, and that is really expressed through the child playing with the toys and so forth. But, you know, if they weren't playing with the caricatures and the Toy Story stuff and all that lot, they would be playing with acorns or, God knows, even burning crickets with magnifying glasses, which is not good for the crickets, but it's learning something, you know, it's some sort of education, you know, picking up, you know, acorns or whatever, or even whether it's hunting. And, you know, there are certain phases also in the child growing up, like to do with orientation and, you know, this tree's here and then over there there's those woods and those trees, and you get a very symbolic representation of places and juxtaposition and orientation. This is the bare patch of, you know, these are the plains, and then these are the this is the woodland, and then this is this, you know, and then, you know, we have to go, you know, which is kind of, all that is lost if you live in the city. I think if you live a life in the city, although you remember places by, you know, this is the crooked fence and railings and this and that. There is all this sentiment and sentiment and sentiment. The world that Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg want to create doesn't have any space for sentiment, unfortunately, if it's not got a price tag on it or a vote or likes. You know, if you walk past an old crooked fence and, you know, its value's nothing. I mean, the contractors are straight in, the bulldozer it's straight down. Somebody might like that. Hey, I like that. Yeah, it's only got 3 likes though. You know, you know, who likes it? Well, just a minute. You know, the thing with these people is they want to put a fucking counter on it. You know, Musk wants to put a fucking digital, you know, he wants to stick a calculator on it, and then, you know, we'll see how many people like it. You know, how many people like this fucking fence. You know, he wants the number, he has to have a number there. You can't just think that, you know, you can't just walk past and, like, assess it. Yeah, this is pretty cool. You know, you should know people like it. These people, there's, you know, the world that they want is almost like the Matrix. You know, they actually want, you know, it's almost like Zuckerberg wants his fucking he wants his Google glasses on, and then he wants everything he looks at. He wants data, you know. Here is a bush shelter, 306. Tell me about the bush shelter, Mark. Well, it's 15 feet high and it's 3-inch steel with a 2.5 millimeter plate, and that's acrylic paint with a 350 charge, you know, coating liner on it with a 2-4 mixed 2-pack paint, 3-to-1 water, 5 to 6 paint, and then 564 people in the local area like that. And yes, and out of those, 650 of them are women and 550 of them are men. And then data, and then like fucking 4 hours later, Zuckerberg's still there looking at the fucking bush shelter, reading data on it. Meanwhile, what could we have done with that time? He wants to flash us with ads for shit that we don't want. Could have fucking, been in the pub having a couple of pints with your mate by then. There's something wrong with these people. They're not right. There's something severely wrong with them. Their priorities are all wrong. Why do you need all that data? It's okay, it won't take me 10 minutes because once I've got this really, really fast data, it'll only take me 2 seconds to assess all that. Right? But Mark can't just accept, this is our village. Yes, it's beautiful. Obviously, that's why, we should keep this, we should keep that. I don't need to know every single fucking piece of data about it. No one does need to know all that data. It's a waste of time. Just like the 360 zillion impressions of adverts that you force people to watch and sit through and sold nothing. Nothing. And that's why it doesn't matter, because you're not really selling chocolate now. We're in the money because now we're politically influencing people with subtle messages and one-liners. That's it. Oh, that's what you're doing, is it, Rees-Mogg? Subtly influencing the voters to carry on up the Columbus, with the freaking, carry on eating Twix bars or whatever it is. It's wasted. It's just wasted life force. The goals, objectives, and priorities of these people is wrong. It's like, would you not even, you don't even need to get androids making widgets all day, because maybe we don't need those widgets, and maybe no one should have been making those widgets. But Mark, I think that he wants to create some machine which he can type in, tell me, oh great machine, tell me, give me the knowledge. Don't you already have the knowledge, Mark, with a haircut like that, with that sharp hairdressing style, to my magic hat, with my magic religious attire. I will consult, This is it. Whatever it is, which it could be any religion. It doesn't really matter which religion it is at the end of the day. Why do you want, the great all-powerful machine, the globe? I have created the machine which will tell me all the answers. Yes, Mark, but if you were that smart in the first place, wouldn't you already know the answers yourself? It's a bit of intellect. Musk and Zuckerberg want to create these immense super machine computers which, are going to give them all this, whatever knowledge. But, I think that it's insulting to humans. I really think that it's insulting to humans, because all they're saying now, they're talking about, everything they're saying is kind of like, it's quite offensive. Whenever Musk starts talking about all his projects and stuff, it's kind of like very, very kind of like cast us aside, and we're already history. We're already, he's already, assimilated the humans. We're already yesterday's news. I never ever see or hear Musk really sort of exalting human beings or any human. It's all, the machines and what they can bring, what they can give, what they can do, what answers and genius they can come up with. It's. I think that it's anti-human. I don't like it. And I think these people they're new kids on the block. They've only been around, since this generation. At the moment, and they've got a lot of money very, 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 very quickly. They've accumulated vast amounts of money, and now their capacity of influence on the whole planet and the world is beyond governments, really, and I really don't think that they are taking it. Well, Zuckerberg takes it seriously. No one would take it seriously without a haircut like that. But he takes it seriously in the way that this is serious. Yes, I know it's serious, Mark. That's why I'm taking it serious. I think Zuckerberg takes it that seriously, that it's serious, more serious than serious. But at the same time, that is why it's serious to everyone else. And that's why there's people kicking off in France, tearing the streets up, and, literally ripping the framework to pieces. And Bill Gates is like, ooh, what's going on? What's happening? Yes, Bill, it's serious. Did you realize? I know it's serious. I'm a very serious man. Well, you ought to be a very serious man when you've got the world at your fingertips, because that's an entire planet full of people, Mr. Gates, and they're not very happy with what you're doing at the moment. I would take it very seriously if I were you. There's Mr. Putin with his missiles under his fingertips. Yes, we have to take it very seriously. We're all taking it very seriously. That's why they've got the Blade Runners going around London tearing the cameras down. Don't you think they're taking it seriously enough now, Mark? Oh, let's get the men in white coats in. We need to calm them all down. Maybe we should get them all smoking cannabis and they might calm down. You really think that's a good idea, Mark? Elon's already writing off the human as being yesterday's news. We don't already want to write everyone's emotions off already, or turn them into, if they can't get the cannabis fix or get supercharged going on the rebound. Or worse, what happened when they all got the alcohol and the smoking? We all got cancer. This is it. You couldn't be more serious. The element of seriousness in Zuckerberg is too Rimmer-like. It's like Rimmer and Red Dwarf seriousness. It's serious. It's like Biden. Ooh, it's Biden. Be serious, But it's not serious enough. It's not serious enough in the sense that, it's serious, all right. That's the thing. That's why people are using rights. That's why people have got rights, because it's serious. This is the problem. There's not enough information out there about cannabis. People aren't talking about it on the right subjects and the right things that need to be outspoken and discussed about it. I don't think. And when it comes to, I think that what the elite want to do is hopefully brush all the truth and facts under the carpet and try and sneak it by us, while they glean every bit of information through the phones, but not be upfront and straight about it. But they end up getting all the data, and then they use that to their advantage, and by that time they'll be dipping into the DNA jar and dicking around with it, rather than us being honest and upfront about it and then letting us make his own decisions. It's almost like what they're doing in the voting, really. They just vote for a party and let us do all the work. We'll do all the policies. We'll do all the thing. Just give us the mobile phones. Let us scan you. Let us get all your data. Let us check your DNA, and we'll deal with it all. We'll design you. We'll design you. We'll program you. We'll change your genetics. We'll take care of everything. Just tick the box. Not like, no, actually, let us decide. Okay, we'll tell you the truth. These are the heroin people. These are the cannabis people. And these are the magic mushroom people. And this is what you're going to end up like if you keep taking it. And this is why we're all having arguments and fighting, Oh, we can't have that. Everyone will be complaining about each other, and they're all different. And Suella Braverman's hair will be on fire. Well, it should be on fire. She's trying to illegally take our rights away. Oh, no, she has unlawfully taken our rights away. Oh, shame, shame, we know your name. This is it. It's irresponsible. It's like Biden. Here's the old man, he's gone senile, it's too late now, he's the puppet man, we've got the real generals in charge behind the scenes with the real data. Just let old Pat paps, little paps rock around on the stage and trip over, and, that's just it's official, don't worry, don't worry, children. It's almost like, where are all the children gone? There's no children left anymore. They've all disappeared. So, like, don't worry, children. Now you've all got your new android friend. Where have all our grandparents gone? Where are our parents? Don't worry about old Granny in the granny's home. Don't listen to those stories of the Celts and the warriors and, the tree by the woods and the magic and where he came from and how he got here and the story of Noah. Don't worry about those tales. Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64? Forget the grandparents, forget those. Now we've got your new friends. Elon Musk's made you the perfect friend. Fuck humans. Now you've got an android friend, and it's programmed to do exactly as commanded. Oh, just what I've always wanted to be, a dictator, yes. It's the truth's coming out of Musk now. But it could be too late. He could already have control of the whole planet with Zuckerberg. There could be some googly handshakes going on. It could be too late because Biden's not in a fit state to save anyone from anything. I mean, you can't even walk up a staircase without tripping up. Can I have my ball back? No! But I'm being nice and polite, so they don't rebel against me. Yes, come and have some sweets. I'm Mr. Biden. Aren't they supposed to rot your teeth? No. Can I have my ball back? No, my ball. I'm president. This is my ball. Sir, can I have the ball back, please, Mr. President? No, it's mine. Mine, I tell you, but have these sweets instead. I'm a nice, kind man. Have the sweets, but this is my ball. I'm the president. This is it. Play it again, Biden. This is it. We need some big truths, but big truths piss people off and people get annoyed, which is probably why cannabis people like to be stoned all the time. This is the problem, and drunk people like to be drunk, and that is why we've got problems. Or else we've got the TV celebrities trying to distract them with a magical trick. Yes, answer the questions, chase after the money, answer the catchphrase, show must go on. If you want to spend, if your idea of a good time is spending eternity, in an audience seat, watching the grand stage, just what I always wanted. This is my dream come true. I'm sat in a chair, not facing anyone except a man who's, 200 yards in front of me. It's like, I can think of 10 places I'd rather be than that. Well, I could be playing with my kids in the garden. I could be climbing trees, looking for newts in ponds, or whatever it is. No, I want to be sat in a chair and facing no one, not even facing a person. I want to be, my new best friend that Elon Musk made me. He's like the owl on Jason and the Argonauts, isn't he? Like the robot owl.